Welcome to Grant the Mic, the podcast for nonprofits, grant professionals, and grant consultants who want to elevate their grant game and make a bigger impact. I'm your host, Allison Boyd, founder of Boyd Grants and the Boyd Grants Academy. Each week, we dive into the world of grant funding, sharing tips, insights, and stories from experts, leaders, and funders themselves. From building a strong grant-seeking culture, to collaborating with consultants, to crafting a proposal that truly wins support, this is your go-to place for actionable strategies and inspiration. Whether you're just starting your grant journey or you've been writing proposals for years, we're here to help you learn, grow, and get results. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's grant the mic. Hey everyone, welcome to the first episode of Grant the Mic. I'm Allison Boyd, founder of Boyd Grants and the Boyd Grants Academy. I am so excited you're here. Honestly, y'all, this is a little nerve-wracking. Me talking to you, sharing my experiences, and hoping to give you some tips and encouragement. But mostly, I just want this to feel like a conversation. Like you and I are sitting across from each other with a cup of coffee, because I love a good cup of coffee, and chatting about grants, nonprofits, and all of the things that come along with this work. So let's be real for a minute. Sometimes grants feel like trying to climb a mountain in flip-flops. It can be confusing, it can be stressful, and it can be overwhelming. And if you've ever felt like swimming through a sea of applications, deadlines, and jargons, you're really not alone. I think we've all been there. And I've seen countless clients and colleagues there too. So you're not in it alone. And that is exactly what this podcast is here for. At Boyd Grants, everything we do is guided by 3 pillars. The first pillar is train the community. We want to help people build the skills and confidence they need to succeed in the grant world. The next pillar is grow relationships. Collaboration is everything. We work to strengthen connections with clients, subcontractors, and our partners. And then the last pillar is maximize Boyd Grants' effectiveness. We wouldn't be a small business if we weren't concerned about the organization itself and how to be efficient and make sure that the efficiency and impact is at the heart of our work. So we want every grant, every proposal, everything we do to support our clients to count. Over the course of this podcast, you'll hear these pillars reflected in what we talk about. Some episodes will be very practical, like tips, tools, and frameworks. Others might feel more like a story or a conversation, culture, mindset, all of those growth principles that we need to live by. And the goal is the same. It's to help you be more effective, confident, and impactful in your grant work. Okay, so now, a little note about tone. I want this to be a casual and real conversation. I'll share professional insights, but also personal stories, reflections, and maybe we'll laugh a little bit here and there along the way. These are serious work, but it's also human work. Speaking of personal stories, I have to admit something up front to you guys. In 2025, I read 400 books. So yes, I said 400. And yes, I do have this really weird habit of reading everything an author has written before moving on to the next. I feel like even if I don't like it, they have put forth their heart and soul into the work that they've done. And if I'm going to pay for the book, I'm going to finish it because I want to honor the work that they do. Y'all, I get that's weird, but that's really okay. That's just a little bit of who I am. I guess it's just me. I really do like diving deep into things, whether it's books, grants, or figuring out a complex project. And then there's life outside of the grants world for me. I'm more than just an entrepreneur. I am a mom. I'm a wife. And I currently am trying to desperately reclaim my overgrown garden so it can become a beautiful cut flower garden. So yes, I am the quiet country girl who loves to read, lives on 5 acres, and loves everything about the grants profession. Honestly, standing in the dirt with a shovel in hand is one of the few things that really quiets my mind when I can't get out of my own head. Going out to the garden or cutting the grass are things that really just allow me to sit back and think and process. And I want this podcast to feel the same way, a grounded human space, but also practical and inspiring. Okay, so let's get just a little bit more personal, which is a big deal for me because I'm inviting you into my circle of friends. So once you join us, you're in. I believe that who we are as people directly impacts how we do our work. And I want you to know a bit about me because I think authenticity and transparency are everything, especially in the world that we live in right now. So, as I mentioned, I'm a wife and a mom. My son is a 9-year-old who is full of energy, full of crazy questions, things I never would have thought to ask. We have deep conversations on the way to and from school. Sometimes they're about like how the world was created and all of those things. And then sometimes it's about Minecraft, which I know nothing about. He keeps me on my toes every single day. He makes me laugh. He brings me great, deep soul joy. And I'm so excited to be his mom. Parenthood has taught me so much about patience, persistence, and the small wins. You know, those moments when someone finally masters a skill or a project comes together, it's funny how that mirrors grant work. I've always believed in leading with kindness, encouraging people over gossiping about them, and keeping a teachable spirit. I think those values are critical, whether you're collaborating with a client, a colleague, or even your own team. I try to apply the same approach to myself and to the team of staff that I lead. Growth isn't just about grants, it's about mindset, curiosity, and being brave enough to step into the things that scare you. Speaking of curiosity, let's circle back to all of those books. I know, I said I read 400 in 2025. Y'all, that's not just a number. I genuinely love learning, deep diving into things and understanding things fully. I bring that same approach to grants, and our staff do also. Every proposal, every project, every organization is an opportunity to learn something new and really understand the people and causes involved. The mindset has made me a better grant professional, and it's part of why I wanted to start this podcast. And then there's the garden, y'all. I know it sounds random, but bear with me. Right now, reclaiming my garden to grow flowers is important because it correlates to life. Sometimes life is messy and you need to put in the work to create the beauty. And that's exactly how I feel about grants work. It's not glamorous all of the time, and it can be messy and it can be very hard. But the results, the growth, the funding, the impact that we make are absolutely worth it. I also wanted to share something else about myself that influences how I approach this work. I genuinely believe in transparency and authenticity. I want to share not just the wins, but also the lessons, the mistakes, and the human side of grants. And I hope, y'all, that this podcast reflects that. So if you're here hoping for perfection or a magic formula, that's not exactly what this is. What I can promise is honesty, experience, guidance, and a fair amount of encouragement along the way. And I want you to feel supported, inspired, and equipped by the end of each episode. All right, So let's pivot and talk a bit about Boyd Grants and who that is and what we do. I founded the company back in 2004, and over the past almost 20 years or so, we've helped organizations secure more than 180 million in federal, state, local, and foundation dollars. Our team is incredibly experienced and they are exceptional in the work that they do. Because of them, we are able to provide professional grant writing, research, and management services to nonprofits, higher education institutions, municipalities, and so much more. We're also a certified WBENC Women's Business Enterprise, which reflects our commitment to professionalism and quality. And honestly, it was just a goal, right? And we wanted to accomplish that. And here we are 2 years into it, still with that certification. So we're excited about that one. I personally had the privilege to serve as the president of the Grants Professional Certification Institute Board of Directors, and as well as holding roles as chair, vice president, and just as a board member for that institution. In 2018, I received a GPA President's Award, which was a huge honor, y'all, and something I am still so incredibly proud of. And then in 2024, because of all of the work that I've done with the Grant Professional Certification Institute, they awarded me a Pillars of Support Award. And so I get to be a pillar alongside other great, amazing grant professionals who deeply believe in the profession and the growth and the value of it. My background spans nearly 20 years of grant writing, project management, and development. I've co-chaired successful fundraising campaigns, developed proposals from scratch, and helped implement multi-year projects. This breadth of experience allows me to approach every grant with thoroughness, clarity, and most importantly, an understanding of each client's mission. One of the things I love about this work is seeing the transformation grants can create. It's not just about the money. It's about empowering organizations to achieve their goals, serve their communities, and create real impact. That's what Boyd Grants has been about since day one, helping organizations reach their full potential through strategic, ethical, and professional grant support. Okay, so enough about Boyd Grants and enough about my history, but let's dig into those 3 pillars I mentioned at the start, because those 3 pillars are going to shape, not only do they already shape what Boyd Grants does, but they're going to also shape the podcast and how we go about the podcast. So first, train the community. This is about equipping nonprofit teams and grant professionals with the fundamental skills they need. We run workshops through Boyd Grants Academy, different training sessions, and now through this podcast, we're going to share tips and insights with a broader audience. We are so excited to do that through this podcast. But the goal is simple. It is to empower people to feel confident in their grant work so they can create impact without feeling overwhelmed or lost. Second, grow relationships. This pillar is all about connection. Grants are rarely a solo sport. Collaboration with clients, partners, and consultants, and even the funder is key. We focus on building meaningful, authentic relationships that increase engagement and trust. In this podcast, you'll hear stories and examples that show how relationships directly influence grant success. And third, maximize Boyd Grants effectiveness. Here's where we focus on the efficiency, systems, and operational excellence. We want every project, every grant, every effort to count. That means working smarter, streamlining processes, and finding ways to ensure that our clients' organizations operate at their very best. You'll see us discuss these ideas in terms of practical tips you can apply to your team and your organization. And that's really the overarching goal of this podcast, to help you develop skills, build relationships, and operate more effectively so you can create real impact in the work that you do. Every tip, story, and insight is connected to one of those pillars. So let's talk practical tips. Because while stories are great, I know you want actionable advice that you can actually use. First, building the grant ready culture is so crucial. It means everyone, from leadership to program staff, understands the role grants play and feels part of the process. It makes grants a team effort and not just a development department's job. Second, if you're working with a grant consultant, you're going to need to set clear expectations, know what they're responsible for, and communicate openly. Consultants can be a game changer, but only if the partnership is built on transparency, trust, and collaboration. Third, embed your grant work across your organization. Tie proposals to program goals, fundraising initiatives, and organizational strategy. This is going to help you ensure that your efforts are aligned and impactful. Fourth, you need to avoid common mistakes. Don't chase grants that aren't a good fit, and always focus on quality over quantity. It's better to submit fewer, stronger proposals than many weak ones. Finally, measure impact beyond the dollars. Funders want to know the difference their investment makes. Collect your stories, your data, and outcomes that show real change, not just line items on a budget. Hey, here's something I want you to reflect on. What would a grant-ready culture look like in your organization? And where could your team grow in its skills or collaboration? Remember, growth is a mindset. Be brave, even when something scares you. Stay teachable, keep learning, and lead with kindness. These principles apply not just to grants, but to everything you do. And they're principles I try to live by every day. You don't have to do it alone. Use your team, your consultants, and your community. Celebrate the wins and learn from those mistakes. But most importantly, keep moving forward. Y'all, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to Grant the Mic wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. Visit boydgrants.com or boydgrantsacademy.com for resources, worksheets, or tools to help you elevate your grant game. Connect with me on social media to share your wins, questions, or stories. And if you know someone who could benefit from this podcast, share it with them. The bigger our community, the bigger our impact. Thanks so much for joining me for the first episode. I promise we're going to dig deeper into some of those topics we talked about. I am so excited to launch Grant the Mic and cannot wait to see how it grows over the course of the year. I'm Allison Boyd and can't wait to bring you more stories, tips, and strategies to help you build a stronger team, a stronger organization, and a stronger community. See you next time.